Hello students, welcome back to biology classes. There are certain protozoa that also infects our body. So today we will discuss two diseases, that is malaria and amoebiasis caused by protozoa. One evening after her lectures, Rita developed an extremely high temperature. Also she had frequency of chills and sweating intermediately. What was really wrong with her? A few diagnostic tests revealed that Rita was suffering from malaria. But how did she get infected with malaria in the first place? What could have caused it? And how did this infection took over her body? Let us learn this infectious disease in detail. What causes malaria? We have always heard that mosquito bite is the root cause of malaria. So are mosquitoes responsible for this infection? No. You will be surprised to know that mosquitoes do not cause any malaria, but just spreads it. And what do we mean by this? The actual causative agent of malaria is a protozoa called Plasmodium. Malaria caused by 4 different species, namely Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, and Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium ovale. Plasmodium ovale causes mild malaria. The incubation period is about 14 days. Plasmodium vivax causes benign malaria, where reoccurrence of fever is after every 48 hours, that is every 3rd day, while Plasmodium malaria causes quartan malaria, that is the reoccurrence of fever is after 72 hours, that is every 4th day. But Plasmodium falciparum causes malignant malaria. This malaria is most harmful and the incubation period is about 12 days. Reoccurrence of fever is after every 48 hours. Plasmodium vivax is most violent and life-threatening. So where does Plasmodium come into the picture? Protozoan Plasmodium live as parasite in Anopheles mosquito. Anopheles mosquito is the female species in which this parasite resides. And from Anopheles mosquito it is transmitted to human through their bites. Hence, it's the Plasmodium that infects the human and not the mosquito. Thus, complete life cycle of protozoan parasite Plasmodium involves 2 hosts. One, mosquito, and the second is human. Let's understand the complete life cycle of this malarial parasite. It all begins when the female mosquito bites the human. This helps the transfer of malarial parasite into the human body. The mosquito releases the saliva in the human while enjoying the blood meal. Thus, the parasite gets the chance to enter into the human body. The Plasmodium get transferred in human in the form of the spores called as sporozoites. One of the stage of the life cycle of Plasmodium, the sporozoites, is the infective stage of Plasmodium that infects our body. But how do they do this? The Plasmodium sporozoites reach to the target through bloodstream. Here they attack the liver cells and stay quite a long period of time. And here they reproduce asexually and increase the number of the spores within the liver cells. After increasing their number, they release back into the bloodstream by bursting out of liver cells. The form that they release from the liver cells are merozoites. The merozoites now target the RBC's red blood cells. Here they develop ring-like structure called as trophozoite. This form can have two phases. Some undergo asexual reproduction, where the merozoites grow exponentially and the number of merozoites is too large to accommodate these many number of merozoites in the RBCs. Therefore, they are released out by bursting the RBCs. The released merozoites can now attack new RBCs and keep on increasing their population. Here we should note that the simultaneous bursting of millions of RBCs or red blood cells causes malarial chill followed by fever due to the release of toxin called as hemozoin. The merozoites infect new RBCs and the process is repeated. Thus, malarial chill and fever is caused with every repeat of erythrocytic bursting or RBCs bursting. For Plasmodium vivax, it occurs approximately every 48 hours. Other phase of trophozoite is entering the sexual cycle. Trophozoite give rise to two different gametocytes. These gametocytes are actually the germ cells of Plasmodium. When the female Anopheles mosquito sucks the blood of the infected person, these gametocytes enter the stomach of mosquito and develop there to form gametes. Thus, sexual reproduction completes in the stomach of mosquito, where the male and female gametes fuse to form zygote. The zygote enters into stomach wall and changes into a cyst called as oocyte. The oocyte produces a large number of sporozoites by a process called as sporogamy. Some sporozoites reach to the salivary gland of mosquito. When an infected mosquito sucks blood of a healthy person, the sporozoites are then released into the blood through the saliva of the mosquito to repeat the cycle again. This way, the life cycle of the Plasmodium completes and continues infecting the healthy person from the infected one through the female Anopheles mosquito. So now we can understand malaria is communicable protozoan disease caused by a protozoa Plasmodium. There are different species of Plasmodium based on which we get different kinds of malaria. And the transmission of malaria in human is due to the vector or carrier female mosquito Anopheles. The malarial parasite are carried from the infected to healthy person by female Anopheles mosquito. This mosquito picks up the parasite with the blood when it bites an infected person. When this infected mosquito bites a healthy person, parasites moves into his blood with the saliva which the mosquito injects before the sucking up blood to prevent its clotting. The protozoa infects the liver cells and RBCs of human, leading to malaria. Thus, the life cycle of Plasmodium require two hosts, female Anopheles mosquito and the human. The early symptom includes restlessness, less appetite and slight sleeplessness, followed by muscular pain, headache and a feeling of chilliness. In response to chills, the body temperature starts rising and may reach to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. The patient sweats a lot and the temperature steadily goes down to normal till the next attack takes place after 48 hours in Plasmodium vivax infection. Malaria has been a very serious disease of tropical and temperate regions for thousands of years. So, in order to control malaria, many measures has to be taken. It can be done through the use of mosquito nets, creams or oil, use of anti-malarial drugs such as quinine, and eradication of vectors by spraying insecticides. We should also remember that stagnant water is the breeding place for mosquito larvae. Therefore, periodic cleaning of the water reservoirs, pools or tanks is very essential. Amoebiasis or Amoebic dysentery is widespread in India and other tropical regions due to poor sanitary conditions. Amoebiasis, as the name says, the organism looks like amoeba. It is a protozoa that infects the upper part of large intestine of our body. The causal agent here is ant amoeba histolytica. The infection occurs by ingesting the ant amoeba histolytica cyst with the food and drinks. The ant amoeba gets surrounded by wall-like structure forming cyst. Thus, the cysts are carried by flies from the feces of infected person to food and drinks. Ant amoeba injures the large intestinal lining and feeds on the RBCs as well as the cell debris. Periodically, it will form the round cyst-like structure which get escaped from the host feces. This is the large human intestinal lining that is infected by ant amoeba histolytica. Ant amoeba releases certain proteolytic enzyme that erodes the mucous membrane of the intestine, and therefore it forms the bleeding ulcers. We can see here these are the ulcers that are formed and that causes dysentery. The patient gets severe griping abdominal cramps, experience diarrhea, that is the passage of 3 to 8 semi-formed stools per day, or the passage of soft stool with mucus and occasional blood. Thus, the patient passes out blood as well as mucus with the stool. He also experiences fatigue, nausea, exhaustion as well as nervousness. Continuous diarrhea or dysentery leads to unintentional weight loss. In chronic cases, the intestinal wall is punctured. The protozoa or parasite that invades the intestinal mucous membrane may be carried by the bloodstream to the liver, lungs as well as the brain. In these organs, the parasite feeds on the cells and produce severe lesions as well as abscesses that may cause death. So, how to prevent and control amoebiasis? General cleanliness and washing of hands with the soap before handling food, protection of food and drinks from dust, flies as well as cockroach, washing the vegetables and fruits before eating, and disposal of human feces through underground sewerage system. Adequate cooking of food to destroy this amoebic cyst is very essential. Amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis can be treated now by anti-amoebic medicines. This is all about the protozoan diseases.